What's up YouTube? My name is Andres Restrepo and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I will be giving you insight about the real estate market here in San Francisco. For those of you that don't know, I am a real estate agent in the city, so I am boots on the ground, working with clients day in and day out and getting feedback as to what is currently happening on this market, because in my opinion, it is one of the markets that gets blown out of proportion the most. Everybody seems to know what's going on in San Francisco, but all of those videos that get pumped out onto YouTube about the city are from people that don't even live here to begin with. So you know, in this video, we will be covering a very important topic and answering a very important question, which is San Francisco real estate crashing? Everybody seems to say it is. I think by the end of this video, you'll know for yourself. So I hope you enjoy. All right, so today I'll be giving you really cool data from my company. I work with Compass and we have a really great economist. His name is Patrick Carlisle. And Patrick comes up with these phenomenal market reports every single month where he's pulling data from the MLS, the multiple listing service here in San Francisco, other Bay Area counties as well, which he focuses in also. And he also gets information from the California Association of Realtors. So all this data is really, really solid. It's pretty much as good as it gets, okay? So let's hop right in, and this is gonna be the market report from my sales meeting, which took place on July 14th. All right, so as we start onto the first slide, San Francisco appreciation. The median priced home in San Francisco in 2021 is close to $1.9 million. We are up 13% year over year. That's from 2020 to 2021. And believe it or not, from 2019 to 2020, we saw about 7% appreciation in single family homes. So a very important data point for all of those of you out there that are thinking that San Francisco real estate prices have been going down. That's very wrong. Couldn't be further from the truth. There have been certain sectors of the real estate market that have seen a little bit of a dip, and we'll talk more about those as we kind of go along the presentation. So here we see San Francisco median house price changes. So year to date, homes have increased by about $150,000 in equity. From 2019 to 2020, there was about a $50,000 increase in appreciation, and from 2018 to 2019, things pretty much stayed flat. Everything remained as it was. I believe the median price point back then was anywhere between 1.55 and 1.6. All right, and then this is gonna be even more of a shocker to many of you that you know, are navigating the Bay Area housing market. So San Francisco, this particular graph here is telling us that the appreciation was 16%, and that's because it's factoring the year to date. Right, so we just got done going through one of the craziest spring markets of all time. 2020 kind of flipped the real estate market here in San Francisco on its head because it didn't follow the normal seasonal patterns, which is spring market, a lot of stuff comes on and we see a lot of buyer activity, but that didn't happen last year because obviously everything was closed. So we saw the summer, you know, kind of do what the spring should have been doing, and things just pretty much carried on, you know, fall, winter into you know, earlier this year. So it was pretty much like open season where things were just going, you know, 20, 30, 40% over asking, even more in some cases, from about June, July of last year, all the way, I want to say, until about May of this year. Now we're finally seeing things cool down a little bit, but that's because it's the summer, and seasonally, that's how San Francisco has always operated. So for those of you that are getting on top of a mountaintop and saying the real estate market is crashing, sell, or this, that, or the other, you're out of your minds. We don't have enough data to support that. The real estate market shifts about every 3 months, and there are seasonal, you know, kind of points where we really need to see what's going on, and we need to gather enough data to properly be able to assess the situation. But in my opinion, things are just cooling down at the moment. We're not seeing, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 offers. We might see 2 or 3 solid offers, which is, I mean, it only takes one, right? So. All right, and let's carry on. Sonoma County, 18% year over year. Solano, 21%. And just kind of going all the way down to Contra Costa County, 39% year over year appreciation. That's absolutely bananas. That's not sustainable. I don't think that's the norm at all. That's not something that we should expect to see going forward. But it does go to show what can happen when all the perfect elements come into play. So we saw, obviously, immense amount of stimulus money and liquidity hit the marketplace, which boosted up stock prices, which gave a lot of folks here in the Bay Area, which obviously work for companies that get paid in stock or they have stocks, they're typically more affluent folks, gave them an extra oomph to go and have money for a down payment and bid up property value. So that's what we're seeing right now. All right, the San Francisco Bay Area real estate market cycles dating back to 1984. So if we look here, the first bust kind of took place between 1991 and 1994, and that dropped the market by about 11%. Not very much when you consider what the rest of the country does when a real estate downturn takes place, like a Florida or a Texas, for an example, which are also seeing really big run-ups in prices right now. Between 1995 and 2001, we saw prices go up by 100% in 6 years, right? So that's an appreciation rate of close to 20%. As you can tell, the Bay Area is a cyclical market, so we see big jumps in appreciation. It's not a good market to invest if you're a cash flow investor because the cap rates are very low. And if you don't know what a cap rate is, comment below. I'd be happy to make a separate video on that or just explain it to you so you guys can kind of understand all of this real estate lingo. Then we saw the dot-com bubble pop and things dropped by about 5%. All right, and then from there onward, we had the big run up prior to the big financial market crash, and that dropped property values as a whole in the San Francisco Bay Area by about 40%. Keep in mind, that's the whole of San Francisco Bay Area. San Francisco proper only dropped by about 20 to 30%. And again, all properties don't get hit the same. There's different characteristics, there's different neighborhoods, and there's different areas that obviously play a big role into what is going to happen in a particular sector of the market. All right, and then from there onward, we pretty much saw a run up from 2012 all the way up until where we're at today, which is just something has to give. I don't expect a full-on market crash like a lot of folks out there are predicting. Yes, there's an eviction moratorium in place. I believe California has about 1 million of those tenants that haven't been paying rent. At some point, who knows with the politics here, but at some point those tenants may have to leave their units, which may bring some more inventory onto the market. But this is a very low inventory market to begin with, and we'll kind of touch on that as we go along. In San Francisco, there's normally between 1.5 to 2 months of inventory available. So months of inventory is a metric that pretty much will let you know that if nothing else came on the market, right, in about 1.5 months, everything would be gone, right? So that's pretty much what that metric means. Healthy inventory is typically around 6 months of supply, but again, you won't ever see that in San Francisco unless 30% of the population leaves, and I don't really see that happening. It's a beautiful place to live. Weather's great. Houses are lovely. Yes, we have problems like every other big city in the world has problems, but they are kind of put under a magnifying glass for the rest of the United States to kind of, make fun of San Francisco. But, to each their own. If you get a kick out of it, more power to you. Going right along, median sales price for 2-bed condos. Okay, this is where things get really interesting now because condos did take a hit when it came to property values. If we look at a lot of the condo prices, they've actually been pretty flat since about 2016 to 2017 to where they're at today, factoring in obviously the price drop that we saw last year. Now, not every condo is hit the same. Condos in District 9, which are pretty much South Beach, Soma, Yerba Buena, Mission Bay, those areas are pretty densely populated. There's a lot of high-rise buildings with, amenities and really high HOAs. So if you're in a building like this where you're paying $1,000, $1,200, $1,700 per month for an HOA and you can't use the gym, the pool, none of those things, obviously that's going to make you want to say, all right, I'm out. And that's what we saw a lot of, right? So a lot of people actually left that district, which was also very renter heavy. So most of the exodus, quote unquote exodus, because we didn't really lose that many people, rent prices are already going back up, took place in that part of the market. If you're in a condo that was in Potrero Hill or Dubois Triangle or the Richmond District or Cole Valley or the Mission, right? Like these really nice neighborhoods that the condos there aren't high-rise condos, or condos located in like 2 to 6 unit, 2 to 8, 2 to 10, Victorian, Edwardian, like quaint SF, people drool over those. So those did just fine. All right, we'll go right into new listings coming on market. So something very important to note is that in San Francisco, we have 2 main seasons when most of the transactions take place. That's gonna be the spring and the fall. Summer and winter are usually pretty dead. People kind of take off, the kids are out, there's people that just wanna take vacations and go chill, which is totally fine. So we do see a bit of a dip in the market, which means people kind of wait to put their homes on the market in the busier seasons. The ones that can't afford to do that, they'll go on in the summer. And guess what? That's when I always encourage people to go out there and really get aggressive about your house search. Why would you want to wait until the spring or fall? Sure, there's more stuff on the market, but if something meets your criteria that comes on in a slow season, take advantage of it. Because at the end of the day, waiting will only make you the 11th offer when spring or summer comes, right? And it's not out of the ordinary here to see, properties getting 6, 10, 11, 12. I've even heard as high as 30 offers in the spring market, which is absolutely insane, all right? So I feel like buyers do it a lot to themselves. They just feel like buying when everybody else is buying. Oh, my friends are buying. Everybody I know is buying. Maybe it's time for me to buy. It's like, do the opposite of what everybody else is doing and you'll be just fine, trust me. All right, San Francisco new house and condo listings on the market. So this is the 12-month rolling data. The market really peaked as far as inventory goes in about Q4 of 2020, and that kind of carried through into the spring. Things are cooling down substantially right now. All right, and again, I'm sharing with you, this is in the market report that I would send to my clients. This is what we go over in our sales meeting, which is in-house for Compass agents that are, pretty much getting this from the source, which is Patrick Carlisle, as I mentioned earlier. So I won't bore you guys a whole lot with the rest of these slides. I just kind of want to jump into, some other really cool data points that you might find interesting. So now this is going to be the traditional real estate report that I would send to clients. You'll notice a lot of the same slides that we just saw are going to be in here. But I really want to focus in on a few of these right here. The price appreciation for condos. Okay, so condos are back on the up and up. Condos are up 7% year over year. Last year in District 9, which I just described as being South Beach, Yerba Buena, Mission Bay, Soma, right? Potrero Hill's technically part of that district, but it's a totally different neighborhood, so I wouldn't count it. It doesn't have the same characteristics as the ones previously mentioned. Those markets are already starting to recover. I've had a lot of clients looking down there recently, and you can still get something on sale because prices dropped by about 20 to 30% last year. So let's say you're looking at a place that dropped by about 20% and now it's up year over year 7%. Well, you could still get it at a 13% discount to its previous high, right? So I like to buy things when they're on sale. I encourage my clients to do the same. All right, let me take a little water break here. Cheers. Cool. And if you guys are enjoying this sort of content, please let me know. I know this data isn't for everybody, but my goal is to really let you know what's happening here in the market, right? I don't want your perception to be skewed by what other folks are saying that have no idea about what's happening here, okay? Because there's plenty of headlines out there and they get people like all riled up and what have you. So new listings coming on market, like I mentioned, you're gonna see that fall time frame. So August to September, things really spike, take a big dip in the winter, and then come spring, the market really comes on. So when I say the market comes on, it's, sellers traditionally, they're kind of used and wired by the real estate agents to kind of bring properties on around that time frame. And in my opinion, it is beneficial, right? But yes, there's more inventory out there, but there's more buyer demand as well. So when we actually look at the months of inventory in those particular time frames, it's actually lower than it would be in the summer because the days on market are minimal, right? Like properties will get snatched up in 6 to 12 days, and that's happening left and right. So again, if you're a real buyer, if you're serious and you need help, and you're in this area, definitely reach out. I'd be happy to help you. But I'm gonna give it to you straight. Like what is happening in the market right now is perfectly normal. The market is not crashing, just so everybody knows. In San Francisco, the market is as healthy as it's ever been. Companies are still IPOing. Yes, we have this new, I'll just call it that so I don't get deplatformed here. But people are going to come back regardless. This isn't going to go on forever. This place has the Google campus that's building down south, Facebook, just all these UCSF, right? Medical, biotech, tech, all in this city. That's not going anywhere. As much as people want to believe it is, it's not. Most of the talent, the top talent, wants to be here because this is where everybody else in their field is that's crushing it, and they want to network with the best people. All right, and then let's kind of carry on. Percentage of listings accepting offers in Q1 of 2021. That's pretty much at the peak because, again, everybody's bringing their properties onto the market. All right, and then this is a very interesting one. So San Francisco luxury house sales, which luxury here is considered $3 million and above. So for that, we are at an all-time high in June 2021 with about 70 recorded sales over $3 million. Again, that goes to show the market is perfectly healthy here. There's plenty of affluent folks out there. Stock portfolios at all-time highs, real estate portfolios at all-time highs. So they're either cashing out on their real estate investments elsewhere or their stocks and just dumping it into, grade A real estate in some of the nicest neighborhoods. And so these Victorians here, they're a work of art. They're super fun to see. They're very beautiful, and I like to refer to them as a collectible, right? There's only a certain amount of them, and they only keep kind of rising in value. They're always very desired, and people love them. I love them. I think they're super pretty and nice to admire and drive by and be inside of them. I did a beautiful open house this weekend in a really nice Victorian. And people love those. I always get the best turnouts for those property types. So, and this is something that kind of came to mind recently for me. I feel like a single family home in San Francisco is, and again, this might be a little out there, but to me, it's kind of like Bitcoin, right? There's like a finite supply. There's only so many of them, right? And especially if you're going for like a Victorian or an Edwardian, these homes are over 100 years old. They're not building anything remotely close to what those homes look like. So as time goes on, the desirability and the scarcity factor kicks in, and people are willing to pay top dollar because you can kind of redo it within the envelope. You can take a 120-year-old property and make it super nice and modern inside and still keep that gorgeous facade with the nice details that people just drool over. All right, perfect. And then let's kind of see if there's anything else here that's worth sharing. I'm going to go into InfoSparks. So InfoSparks is a really cool tool that I like to use to get data directly from the MLS. So looking here at InfoSparks, I'm looking at the SFAR MLS, which is San Francisco. We're looking at single family homes, and here we're looking at the months of supply, right? So over the past 10 years with a 3-month rolling average, we saw most of the inventory, like I mentioned, hit in Q3 and Q4 of 2020. That would have been the best time ever to buy, but guess what? People were too scared to do anything about it. I helped some folks get property back then, and they're patting themselves on the back because they were like, wow, like we're glad we listened and we were able to get a good deal when there's more inventory than ever, right? And now look at where we're at. Back to less than 2 months supply of inventory. When we look, and this is all for single family homes. When we look at the days on market, all right, so days on market, look at that, 11 days on average. That means you have, usually 6 to 11 days to get an offer in on a property to have a chance to get it, which means you really have to be on it. It's not like you can sit back and just chill and wait and oh, now it's pending. If you want something, you really got to go for it. And then let's look at sales prices. Ever since 2011, 2012, look at that. Straight up, all the way up, right? To 2 million right now is, again, this is just July sales data, but right now the median for the city is 1.8, close to 1.9. So it's 1.880 to be specific. All right, and then let's look at condos. Condos recovering nicely. This was the dip right here. The dip pretty much. Well, actually, let's look at the months of supply. This was when you wanted to buy. Q3, Q4 of last year, 10 months of supply in the condo space. Now, like I said, condos have pretty much remained flat when we look at the sales prices over here. If you look back 2017, 1047 was the median, and here it's just slightly over, maybe 4 or 5%. But again, on a case-by-case basis, I am seeing some condos down in South Beach and Mission Bay that were trading at the same that they were going for in 2016, 2017. There are people that literally lost money. I saw somebody that bought a condo over at Glassworks, which is a beautiful building right by the San Francisco Giants Stadium. They overpaid like crazy for their property. They paid 1.3 for it and they just sold it for $995. All right, so moral of the story, don't overpay for properties. Work with a real estate agent that really gets the market, knows pricing, can send you comps, understands the value on a price per square foot basis, because there's a lot of agents that will bring listings on the market in today's time, in 2021, in the summer, for what the height of the market was on a price per square foot basis of 2018. And with me, I'm not going to let you put an offer on that. I will let you know what fair market value in today's market is. And I think that's the problem with a lot of real estate agents and why we get such a bad reputation. There's people that need the money, they're hungry, they'll write an offer on anything, right? They'll just like, yes, do you want to write an offer? Do you want to do it? Do you want to do it? I'm not that guy. I'll give you a clear picture of value, let you know what the market is currently doing, what fair market value is in today's time, and when we have the ability to sort of negotiate based on what I'm seeing, whether that be on the contingencies that we leverage or the purchase price. I hope you find this video informative. I wanted to give you guys some cool data points to really let you know what's happening here in the San Francisco real estate market. I am boots to the ground. I do this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love what I do. This is my passion. Working with people and helping them get their place in the world is something that I really enjoy. If you're looking for an agent to help you navigate the real estate market here in San Francisco or the Bay Area as a whole, I'd love to serve you, work with you, show you some properties. If you found value from this content, make sure to drop me a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.